This is Nightline and I'm Lena Hassanel. News making the headlines. QR codes at Johor Causeway to be expanded to include all modes of transportation. Bung Mokhtar and wife ordered to enter defense on bribery charges. Good morning. From next year, the use of quick response QR codes at the Johor Causeway will be expanded to include all modes of transportation beyond just buses and motorcycles. Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said the trial, which began in June at the Sultan Iskandar Building, BSI, and Sultan Abu Bakar Complex, KSAB, in Johor Bahru, will conclude at the end of this month. Speaking after attending the special committee meeting to address congestion at the Johor Causeway in Kuala Lumpur on Monday, Saifuddin stated that the procurement process would be finalised within the current financial year. The meeting, chaired by Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof, was also attended by Johor Menteri Besar Datuk An Hafiz Ghazi.
Mesyuarat juga bersetuju bahawa perluasan penggunaan kod QR ini di semua mod dan pintu masuk lain dibuat secara berfasa. Maknanya kalau kita sekarang mula dengan 2 penumpang bas dan motosikal, selepas ini mod kenderaan yang lain.
Saifuddin highlighted that the use of QR codes at the Causeway has proven effective in reducing border traffic congestion, cutting wait times from 120 minutes before its introduction in June to as little as 20 minutes now. He emphasized that this expansion is crucial, given Malaysia's role as the 2025 ASEAN chair and the next Visit Malaysia year in 2026. With these factors in mind, the movement of people between Malaysia and Singapore is expected to rise to 150 million travellers from 116 million last year. For the record, the Johor Causeway handles 400,000 people daily, with numbers reaching nearly 600,000 per day during school holidays. Of this total, bus passengers and motorcyclists account for nearly 80%, while the remaining 20% comprise private and commercial vehicles. Meanwhile, the Johor government is ready to help the federal government deal with the issue of congestion at the Johor Causeway.
52 projek yang bernilai lebih kurang 323 million telah diluluskan untuk membantu kita dari segi mengurangkan kesesakan di kedua-dua tambak Johor dan juga second link border crossing antara yang tersibuk di dunia.
A number of 52 initiatives are planned to deal with the issue of congestion at the Johor emblem. Among the initiatives are integrating the bus passenger hall at Sultan Abu Bakar Complex in Gelang Patah and upgrading the lorry inspection counter in the incoming lorry zone. So far, 22 initiatives have been implemented, while another 10 are in the process of implementation. Malaysia and Brazil have great potential to improve economic and trade relations, even though they are located in very distant regions. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said both countries have advantages in certain fields, including the electrical and electronics and semiconductor industry. Speaking at a roundtable meeting with representatives from the semiconductor industry and captains of industries in Rio de Janeiro on Sunday, he underscored the importance of the partnership for driving innovation and progress among nations in the global south.
Although the volume of trade and export of semiconductor from Brazil is relatively very small compared to Malaysia, but we have excelled in some areas that can be of advantage to both of us, because we do also excel in other areas.
He also highlighted opportunities for cooperation beyond traditional sectors. The event was attended by 34 corporate leaders from 20 prominent companies across various industries. Earlier, when meeting representatives of the semiconductor industry of both countries, the Prime Minister said that cooperation in the electrical and electronic sector and the semiconductor industry is critical at this time. Such cooperation will enable countries in the Global South to benefit from each other's expertise, knowledge and research. In the meantime, Malaysia and Brazil are keen to jointly explore initiatives during Malaysia's Asean chairmanship next year, coinciding with Brazil's BRICS presidency and its role as the host of the 30th United Nations Climate Change Conference. Both countries said this in a joint statement issued after a bilateral meeting between President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and Anwar on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Both leaders have pledged to work together for a revitalized multilateral system based on the principles of the United Nations Charter and international law. They recognize the need for comprehensive reforms in global governance to make it more effective, transparent, and accountable, while taking into account the aspirations of emerging and developing countries to play a greater role in international affairs. This would reflect the social, economic, and political realities and predicaments of the 21st century, as well as the increasing prominence of the Global South. Meanwhile, at the invitation of Anwar, the Brazilian president has agreed to attend the 47th ASEAN Summit and related summits in Kuala Lumpur next year as a guest of the chairman. Kinabatangan Member of Parliament Datuk Sri Bung Mokhtar Raden and his wife Datin Sri Zizi Izzat Abdul Samad are set to return to court to answer the charges of corruption. This after the Court of Appeal on Monday unanimously allowed the prosecution's appeal to reinstate the couple's corruption charges. A three-member panel led by Justice Dato Ahmad Zaidi Ibrahim found that the High Court's ruling, which stated that the Sessions Court was wrong to call the couple to enter their defense, was premature and had disrupted the trial. Also on the panel hearing the appeal were Justices Datuk Muhammad Zaini Mazlan and Datuk Nurin Badaruddin. Zaini, when reading the judgment, said that it was established in law that an accused cannot appeal a decision when they were ordered to call for defense. He explained that the court's findings at the prima facie stage are not subject to appeal, as they do not constitute a final resolution of the respondent's rights. He also said that an appeal could only be filed by the accused or prosecution after the completion of the trial. The court then set December 5th for the next case management before the Sessions Court. On September 7th last year, the High Court acquitted and discharged the couple after allowing their applications for a revision against the Sessions Court's decision ordering them to enter their defense. Bung Mokhtar, who was then Felkra Berhad chairman, was charged on May 3rd, 2019, with 3 charges of accepting bribes totaling 2.8 million ringgit as an inducement to obtain approval for the agency to invest 150 million ringgit in public mutual unit trust funds. While Zizi faces 3 charges of abetting her husband and committing the alleged offences. A trailer driver pleaded not guilty in the Bukit Mertajam Magistrates Court on Monday to a charge of reckless driving that resulted in the death of a woman last week. 51-year-old Marhizan Johari claimed trial after the charge was read to him before Magistrate Muhammad Harith Muhammad Mazlan. It was alleged that Marhizan drove in a dangerous manner, causing the death of 21-year-old Li Ziru. The offence was allegedly committed on Jalan Kebun Sireh at 9:30 a.m. on November 13th. The charge under the Road Transport Act carries a penalty of imprisonment ranging from 5 to 10 years, a fine of up to 50,000 ringgit, and a 5-year suspension of his driving license upon conviction. The court denied bail to the father of 3, citing the widespread public attention the tragedy has received, and set January 24th for the case remention. It was previously reported that a woman was killed and a man seriously injured after their cars were crushed by a container that fell off a trailer in a 5-vehicle accident last Wednesday. However, the accused seemed to show no remorse after he flashed a peace gesture to the media personnel taking his pictures during his remand process, sparking outrage among the victim's family and the public. In Terengganu, police seized 200 kilograms of shabu worth almost 6 million ringgit at Jalan Kampung Guntong Luar, Sitiu on Saturday. The drugs were found at 11:45 a.m. in a luxury multi-purpose vehicle MPV that had been abandoned by the roadside. State Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Khairi Khairuddin on Monday said that prior to the discovery, a police patrol unit had received information about an MPV suspected of transporting drugs on the federal road from Kelantan to Kuala Terengganu. The patrol unit managed to locate the vehicle in Kampung Bintang Setiu and followed it for 5 kilometers before it disappeared from view in heavy traffic. The vehicle was eventually found after it had crashed and been abandoned by the driver on a small road in Kampung Guntong. Checks on the vehicle revealed 8 white sacks, each holding 25 plastic packets believed to contain shabu.
Dadah yang dirampas dianggarkan berjumlah 200 kilo yang boleh digunakan seramai 200,000 orang dan dadah tersebut dipercayai untuk dibawa ke Lembah Kelang. Ini adalah yang terbesar untuk tahun ini di kontingen Terengganu.
The MPV was registered in the name of a Kuala Lumpur-based company, but it carried a fake number plate and its chassis number has been tampered with. Police are also tracking down more than one suspect, as the driver was unlikely to have acted alone. The case is being investigated under the Dangerous Drugs Act. The Human Resources Ministry has announced a strategic plan to address the stark disparity between the number of high-paying jobs available and the 300,000 university graduates entering the workforce each year. To tackle the mismatch, its Minister Stephen Sim unveiled several key initiatives, starting with Malaysia's first-ever wage guide to provide clear salary benchmarks across industries, empowering graduates to make informed career choices and employers to offer competitive wages. Speaking during the launch of Talent Corp's latest study on the impact of AI, digitalization and the green economy on Malaysia's workforce, Sim said the government has allocated 3 billion ringgit for reskilling and upskilling programs in 2025 to help workers transition to industries affected by technological changes. The focus is on jobs impacted by technology, ensuring workers can adapt and excel in new roles.
Sebab kita tak mau meneka, we don't want to guess, we don't want to shoot in the dark. So apabila kita nampak where the impact points are, dalam sektor apa, dalam sektor itu pekerjaan apa, maka kita boleh merangka strategi latihan kemahiran.
Apart from that, key measures include 40 billion ringgit in grants and loans to help SMEs move up the value chain, and 120 billion ringgit in investments by government-linked corporations over 5 years to boost domestic industries. This comes as Sim emphasized that the issue is not merely about a lack of jobs, but a mismatch between available roles and the skills of graduates. Talent Corp's study, completed in 6 months, highlighted that 620,000 jobs, or 18% of employees in 10 key sectors, are expected to face significant changes within 3 to 5 years. An additional 1.2 million jobs fall into the moderately impacted category, bringing the total to 1.8 million workers who will need to adapt to these shifts. Meanwhile, a policy aimed at supporting small and medium enterprises, SMEs, in their digital transformation journey is currently in the works. The policy framework is set to be finalized by the end of the year.
SME ini dapat menggunakan, so adopt teknologi, satu yang penting. Yang kedua aspeknya bagaimana kita boleh mewujudkan satu suasana yang membolehkan ataupun yang lebih cost effective, bagi put that way, untuk mereka menggunakan teknologi baru.
He said meetings have been held with the Entrepreneur and Cooperatives Development Ministry, where several proposals were brought forth. The minister added that discussions are also being held with several other parties, with a final decision on how to move forward expected to be reached by year's end. Taiwan President Lai Ching-te on Monday called for the signing of an economic partnership agreement with the European Union, EU, saying it would boost cooperation in semiconductors and that as democracies, the two sides should be working together. Speaking at a Taiwan-EU investment forum in Taipei, Lai said that facing the threat of expanding authoritarianism, Taiwan and the EU must form a strong democratic umbrella and build secure supply chains for global democracies. Lai added that such an agreement would set a sound institutional basis for further cooperation in fields such as semiconductors and artificial intelligence (AI). Taiwan has pushed for the signing of investment and trade deals with the EU in what would be politically significant for Taiwan, given its diplomatic isolation and general exclusion from most global bodies and agreements. For its part, the EU has been courting Taiwan as a like-minded partner under the European Chips Act to encourage more semiconductor production in Europe and less dependence on Asia, despite the lack of formal ties with the Chinese-claimed island. Maiden ATP Finals title for Sinner. Sports after this breather.
Premis hiburan guna lesen palsu.
Ini kiranya lesen lah pada abang. Ya. Bila kita buat semak dari segi nombor akaun, kita dapati lesen ni adalah nama orang lain.
Wanita warga asing pula jadi pendamping.
You order dia, right?
Baru dapat lah.
Okay, you baru dah dapat
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Datang sebagai kawan, balik sebagai musuh.
Juru teknik pergigian berusia 28 tahun ditemui mati dalam biliknya di rumahnya di kuartus klinik kesihatan Lukut Port Dickson.
Suspek mencapai satu helmet dan mukul beberapa kali di bahagian kepala dan dada mangsa.
Kalau setakat dapat 2.5, janganlah gatal-gatal apply course law.
Kita tunggu je lah result keluar nanti kan.
Gadis dan Angan-Angan, episod akhir Khamis 9 malam di Lestari TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Jumaat yang dinanti datang lagi. Bersedia untuk telefilm-telefilm hebat di slot wayang Cikgu Kamala.
Itu bukti cintaku pada suami aku.
Bukan wanita sempurna.
Kau yang buat aku menangis.
Biarkan aku menangis.
Bagis?
Balkis.
Biar pilah dia nak makan ketak.
Berdosakah aku? Slot wayang setiap Jumaat 1 tengah hari di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Sports now, football, the international friendly. Harimau Malaya delivered their best but had to settle for a 1-1 draw with India on Monday. The national squad took the lead when Paulo Josue capitalized on a mistake by the Blue Tigers goalkeeper in the 19th minute. However, the lead was cut short as the hosts fought back and equalized just before the interval with Rahul Beckett's header. Both teams sought a winner after the break, but the 1-1 scoreline remained until the final whistle. Despite this, Palmati Vicente's men continue their fine form, having lost only of their last 5 matches. Moving on to hockey, the 2024 Women's Asian Champions Trophy. The Speedy Tigresses sealed their second victory of the tournament, keeping their dream run alive as they thrashed Thailand 2-0 on Sunday. Malaysia took the lead in the 41st minute when Nur Apika Shazani Ashar slotted home from penalty corner. Before Nur Iman Adawiyah Sohaimi sealed the 2-0 win for the Speedy Tigresses with a field goal in the 53rd minute. The win moved the national squad to third place with 6 points after 5-round robin matches. And with that, the Speedy Tigresses will face China in the last 4 on Tuesday for a place in the final. Now on to tennis, the 2024 Nitto ATP Finals. Jannik Sinner capped off his stellar season in style, defeating Taylor Fritz in straight sets in the final on Sunday to clinch his maiden ATP Finals title. The home favorite delivered a near-flawless performance to overcome the American 6-4, 6-4, becoming the first Italian champion in the tournament's 55-year history. With his tour-leading 70th win of the season, Sinner joined Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic as the only men to win the Australian Open, US Open, and ATP Finals in the same season. The 23-year-old also made history as the first player born in the 2000s to lift the trophy at the prestigious season finale, redeeming himself after last year's runner-up finish to Djokovic. Gaza's death toll continues to mount. The details when Nightline returns.
Aku nak bagi kau hidup senang tau tak? Kau pilih nak hidup susah juga.
Tak kisahlah dia janda ke anak 5 ke, saya tetap juga nak dia.
Takdir anak kau di tangan kau. Aku tengok anak kau tu elok aja walaupun akal dia dah rosak. Budak ni memang sama je dengan mak bapak dia buat malang tau.
Kalau apa yang abang buat sama ni salah, abang minta maaf dengan Nada.
Lara Kasih mulai 25 November, Isnin hingga Khamis 10 malam. Terbaru di Samarinda TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Lebih segar, lebih dinamik. Laporan komprehensif menghidupkan pagi anda.
Buletin pagi dengan waktu yang baharu. 9.30 pagi setiap hari bermula 1 November.
Annyeong Cinggu. Masa untuk K-drama. Dear M. Strong Girl Bongsun. Descendants of the Sun. Layan drama Korea pilihan anda setiap Isnin hingga Khamis 11 malam dan ulangannya Jumaat dan Sabtu 5.30 petang di Tramsarang TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton. Memang debak lah.
Sayang, nampak jam saya tak?
Alah, awak yang tak kemas betul-betul. Semak lah, serabut tau.
Hidup ini keras. Kita patut bertolak ansur dengan pasangan kita.
Kita kena ambil berat, ambil peduli dan saling berkongsi kesenangan dan kepayahan kerana ia adalah penghubung kasih sayang.
On to the foreign front. The Zionist regime's relentless attacks on Gaza showed no signs of abating, with recent strikes killing at least 76 Palestinians and wounding 158 others in the past 24 hours. According to officials, 20 Palestinians, including 6 children, were killed in attacks on tents housing displaced families across the enclave. An Israeli airstrike on a tent encampment in the coastal area of Al-Mawasi claimed the lives of 4 people, while 2 were killed in temporary shelters in the southern city of Rafah, and another in a drone strike. In Beit Lahia town in northern Gaza, medics reported that an Israeli missile struck a house killing at least 2 people and wounding several others. Over in the Gaza City, an Israeli airstrike on a house killed 7 people and wounded 10 others, while 4 people were killed in the Nusayrat camp in the central Gaza Strip. These atrocities committed by the Zionists have brought the overall death toll to at least 43,922 Palestinians. In the meantime, Malaysia and Brazil stressed the urgent need for an immediate and permanent ceasefire to the ongoing conflict in Gaza, as well as demanded Israel ensure unimpeded humanitarian assistance to Palestinians in the occupied Palestinian territory. Leaders of both countries said this in a joint statement issued after a bilateral meeting in Rio de Janeiro between President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim on the sidelines of the G20 summit. They also reaffirmed their support for the establishment of an independent and sovereign state of Palestine, with East Jerusalem as its capital, based on the pre-1967 borders. Also, Palestine's full membership in the United Nations UN. Meanwhile, at least 26 people were killed and dozens injured in fresh airstrikes in southern part of the country on Monday. Israeli fighter jets conducted 10 airstrikes in the city of Nabatiyeh, leaving 8 people dead and several others injured. 6 medics were also killed in an airstrike targeting a center of the Hezbollah-run Islamic Health Authority in the town of Arab Salim. Entire Israeli warplanes launched strikes in several areas, killing 11 people and injuring 48 others. On Sunday, Hezbollah's media chief, Mohammed Afif, was killed in an attack on Lebanon's Arab Socialist Ba'ath Party headquarters in Beirut. Today, the death toll in Lebanon has risen to at least 3,481 people, with over 14,786 injured. The founder of the collapsed Singapore oil trading firm, Hin Leong Trading, was sentenced to nearly 18 years in prison on Monday for fraud involving at least $111.7 million. 82-year-old Lim Un Kuin, or better known as OK Lim, was convicted on 2 charges of cheating HSBC and 1 count of abetting forgery. The prosecution described his actions as one of Singapore's most serious trade financing frauds. The case involved fraudulent oil transactions and forged documents that led HSBC to disburse the loans to Hin Leong. Despite facing over 100 charges, Lim contested most but was found guilty of orchestrating the fraudulent transactions in March 2020. Lim, however, remained free on bail after his lawyers said they would file an appeal before the High Court. India's capital, New Delhi, switched schools to online classes on Monday until further notice, as worsening toxic smog surged past 60 times the World Health Organization's recommended daily maximum. The city's air quality deteriorated significantly, triggering health warnings and prompting the government to take emergency measures. India's Pollution Control Authority said the National Capital Territory's 24-hour air quality index, AQI, reading was 484. Which was classified as severe plus, the highest this year. Authorities have also ordered the closure of schools, halting construction, and the introduction of temporary measures to control pollution. That concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as China's Red Falcon aerobatic team performed breathtaking air stunts at the ongoing Zhuhai Airshow in Zhuhai City. You've been with me, Lena Hassanel, for the past half an hour. Thank you for watching and be well, Malaysia.